This week on ANN, church leaders emphasize the need for all members to get involved with spreading the gospel through a global initiative.
The president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church encourages leaders and members to be sowers for building up God's kingdom.
And the church's stewardship and planned giving and trust services ministries get new directors.
These stories and more coming up.
This is ANN, a service of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Thank you so much for joining us for our special 2015 Annual Council edition.
This week brought the conclusion of the 2015 Annual Council, where hundreds of leaders for the Seventh-day Adventist Church conducted official church business and discussed ways to move the church forward in mission during the church's annual meeting of its executive committee. The Executive Committee is the denomination's second highest governing body and is comprised of the church's top leaders from around the world. Annual Council took place at the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Silver Spring, Maryland from October 7 to 13. It was the first meeting of the Executive Committee after a General Conference session, which is the church's highest governing body and largest business meeting that takes place every 5 years.
While the official theme of the 2015 Annual Council was Reach the World, strong emphasis was placed on a specific method for the global church to effectively achieve its goal. The Total Member Involvement Initiative, also known as TMI, asks for hands-on ministry involvement from each of the nearly 19 million Seventh-day Adventists around the world. TMI is described as a calendar-driven, intentional soul-winning plan that discovers the needs of family, friends, and neighbors, then shares how God fulfills every need, resulting in church planting with a focus on retention, preaching, sharing, and discipline. It also includes strategies such as constant prayer and using Christ's method of ministry, Adventist radio and television support, health ministry outreach, investments in Pathfinder and youth programs, Christ-centered evangelistic efforts, and more.
During his annual sermon to members of the church's executive committee, Ted Wilson, president of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church, also placed special emphasis on total member involvement. In his sermon entitled, Everyone a Sower, Wilson based his message on the biblical parable found in Mark chapter 4 about a farmer who spread seed on various types of soil, which yielded different results. Wilson said Christ has called every member, not just pastors and evangelists, to spread the gospel all over the world. In his message, he said, church members, let the Holy Spirit revolutionize your thinking. Take the church's mission of outreach into your hands on a daily basis, working closely with church leaders and pastors. Let it be total participation, no one left out, everyone a missionary. Do something for Jesus and for others. Don't just look inward and criticize your local church and its activities. Reach out to others for Christ.
Members of the Executive Committee also voted in several positions that were not filled during General Conference session in July. The newly elected church leaders include Marcos Fayak Bomfim, a native of Brazil who was elected director for the church's Stewardship Ministries Department. Bomfim replaces Erika Puni, who held the position since 2005. Bomfim previously served as Director of Stewardship Ministries for the Adventist Church in South America. Dennis R. Carlson was elected to serve as Director for Planned Giving and Trust Services, and Charles B. Simpson was elected to serve as his associate. The second associate position remains unfilled. Sam Neves and Tanya Holland were elected to serve as the new associate directors for the church's communication department. Neves was an associate pastor in Watford, England, and leader of the development team behind the popular Adventist game app, Heroes the Game. Holland most recently served as design manager for the church's communication department.
Newly appointed officials include Elias Brazil de Souza, who will serve as the director for the Biblical Research Institute. He replaces Artur Stelle, who held the position for 5 years and was also elected to a second 5-year term as the General Vice President of the Adventist World Church at the General Conference session last July. De Souza served BRI as Associate Director since 2012. Frank Hazel was newly appointed as Associate Director for BRI. Kwabena Donkor, Eckhart Mueller, and Clinton L. Wallen were reappointed as associate directors. David Trim was reappointed as director of the Office of Archive Statistics and Research and named editor of the New Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists. Bill Knott was reappointed to serve as editor-in-chief and executive publisher of the Adventist Review and Adventist World magazines, as were his two associate editors, Gerald Klingbeil and Lyle Caesar. Andre Brink was named as the publication's new third associate editor for digital media. Visit news.adventist.org to see the full list of elected and appointed church officials.
Church leaders also took time to affirm the key role of women in the church and appealed for church entities to respect the vote on ordination that took place during General Conference session in July. On July 8, delegates at the General Conference session in San Antonio, Texas, turned down a motion that would have allowed each division of the Seventh-day Adventist Church to decide for itself whether to ordain women to the gospel ministry in its territory. G.T. Ng, Executive Secretary of the Adventist World Church, read the 6-paragraph document aloud to church leaders and lay people attending the annual council on Sunday, the first day of the week-long council's core business sessions. The statement says, "We appeal to all entities to respect the decision by the world body in session, since any unilateral and independent action contrary to the voted action paves the way for fracture and fragmentation. We urge all entities to work closely with World Division administrations to ensure that all actions harmonize with voted policy to foster worldwide church unity and our heavenly entrusted mission." The statement was voted by leaders of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church and leaders of the church's 13 regions. Under church policy, only men can be ordained as pastors, while women can serve as commissioned ministers. A person does not need to be an ordained minister to lead a congregation. Visit news.adventist.org to read the full statement.
Annual Council started off this year on October 7 with the beginning of the Leadership Education and Development, or LEAD Conference. This year's focus was on cross-cultural ministry. During the 2.5-day conference, leaders were trained on how to communicate and listen to other cultures. Cheryl Doss, director of the Institute for World Missions, shared with ANN why it was so important to start off the church's newest 5-year term with cultural training.
I don't know that it was more important this quinquennium than any other quinquennium, but the fact is that the church and the world is becoming increasingly diverse. And if we're going to minister to our members, and if we're going to reach out to this very multicultural world, then we need the kind of skills that cultural training can bring us. And so we did our best. There's time to bring awareness of the need for those skills and a little taste of what it would be to gain some expertise in those areas. And we hope that it bears fruit now in people's lives for the good of God's kingdom.
Before Silver Spring, Maryland became the home of the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, a nearby city closer to the nation's capital was deeply entrenched with the presence of the denomination. Last Friday, the annual council evening program took place at the historic Takoma Park Seventh-day Adventist Church in Takoma Park, Maryland. Church leaders decided to hold a special program in Takoma Park in an effort to help the city celebrate its 125th anniversary and to acknowledge the influence the church made throughout the city. According to David Trim, director for the church's Office of Archives, Statistics, and Research, the Adventist Church played a major role in Takoma Park's story. From 1903 until 1989, the 2-mile stretch of land was home to the church's headquarters and still holds long-standing Adventist establishments, including institutions known today as Washington Adventist University and Washington Adventist Hospital. Trim went on to say, by meeting here, we are honoring those who came before us. We are honoring the decisions that were taken here, which changed the church's history for the better and enabled this church to reach the world.
During his secretary's report during this year's annual council, Secretary G.T. Ng discussed the changing demographics of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. In 1962, the Global South had 54% of the membership. Today, it has reached 92% of our church membership. Ng said, "Today, there are more Seventh-day Adventists in China than in all of Europe, more Adventists in Zambia than in Middle East, North Africa, and more Adventists in Brazil than in Great Britain, Canada, and the United States combined." While this shift brings more diversity, it also produces new challenges for the church. Because of the prosperity and generosity of the North, the South has been able to grow. But Ng warned the North not to isolate themselves and their resources from the rest of the church. Ng went on to say, "Mission is one of interdependence rather than independence or dependence." Ng also praised the work of Global Mission Institute, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Global Mission Centers are created in key regions of the world to help members reach people of different religions and cultures. Ng closed by saying, "As we celebrate the growth and diversity of the Seventh-day Adventist Church worldwide, we cannot forget that it is only God who gives the increase."
While leaders celebrated the steady growth of the church, they also had to come to terms with retention rates, especially in relation to the loss of members. The Seventh-day Adventist Church recently saw a spike of membership. As of June 30, 2015, membership was close to 18.8 million, up from almost 18.5 million on December 31 of 2014. According to David Trim, director of the church's Office of Archives, Statistics, and Research, potential growth continues to suffer due to substantial membership loss over the past 50 years. Trim said, from 1965 to the end of 2014, the number of baptized members totaled over 33 million. Of those, over 13 million left the church, virtually 4 of every 10 members. 58% of members who left the church said they would be open to reconnecting with Adventism. 63% of former members who were surveyed said they were young adults when they left the Adventist church. In response to this statistic, Ted Wilson, president of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, said, "If we learned more names of the young people in our churches and just said hello to them on Sabbath morning by name, they might feel more wanted. If we simply extended an encouraging note or a hand to someone who's discouraged, we would keep more people."
Juan Prestal Poisson, the newly elected treasurer for the Seventh-day Adventist World Church, presented delegates and church leaders with some of the challenges the church is facing in the current financial market. Due to changes and uncertainty in the world market, investors gravitate to stable currency, which strengthens the U.S. dollar, thus devaluing other international currencies. This, combined with a change in giving pattern, GC session expenses, and other financial changes, has led to a strain on the finances of the General Conference and offers a challenge to the financial projections for 2016. Prestal said, "We are looking with anticipation to the total reported tithe and mission offerings at the end of December 2015, as we will be formulating any course correction that may be needed." There was some good news, however. The General Conference session offering, Give Them the Keys, raised more than $4.2 million for youth evangelism and projects. The treasurer also reported the General Conference saved an estimated $3 million at this summer's General Conference session in San Antonio, Texas. Prestal added, "The Lord has blessed our finances abundantly in the past, and we trust that He will continue to do this into the future."
Coming up on ANN, the humanitarian arm of the Seventh-day Adventist Church calls for a humane response to the refugees in the European crisis.
Ich bin Gerald. Ich spreche Deutsch. Es gibt so viele gute adventistische Videos, doch so wenige sind übersetzt. Du kannst uns helfen.
Join the Amara translation and caption team today. Amara is easy to learn and fun. You can volunteer in your free time. Join this community today and provide great content in your language.
Welcome back. And now for news from our global church community.
The Syrian conflict has caused the biggest humanitarian emergency of our era, according to the United Nations. As of last year, nearly half of all residents in Syria have been forced to abandon their homes since the conflict that began in 2011. Nearly 3 million Syrians have been displaced. Refugees from Syria and other countries from the Middle East and North Africa have fled to Europe in great numbers. In response to the ongoing European refugee crisis, the Adventist Development and Relief Agency issued a statement of compassion for the response efforts. The statement says, ADRA stands united for the protection and rights of refugees. We recognize the humanity within this crisis, as well as the value of each individual involved. We are dedicated to lessening the impact of an overwhelming and unbearable situation on as many men, women, and children as we can. We urge you to do everything in your power to protect the rights and enforce the protection of the refugees within your borders. Visit news.adventist.org to read the full statement.
Ambassador Iqbal Riza, Special Advisor to United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, last week visited the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church to learn more about the denomination, meet church leaders, and to discuss current humanitarian issues. Riza is a longtime United Nations administrator with more than 35 years of service to the organization. According to Riza, religious institutions can do much to improve the lives of the deprived, poor, disadvantaged, dispossessed. But he added, no one can do it all. Each must do it in their own way, to the extent of their own capacities. Riza also acknowledged the church's emphasis on health and education allows individuals to live fuller, more meaningful lives. In response, Adventist Church President, Pastor Ted N.C. Wilson, said that Adventists are dedicated to serving humanity in every way that Jesus did, physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually.
Church leaders and members on the island of Jamaica recently kicked off celebrations for the 125th anniversary of Adventist presence in the nation. 128 members, groups, churches, and organizations were recognized for exemplary service during a ceremony earlier this month. Awardees were recognized for their efforts in various ministries, including publishing, education, health, and community service. 4 students also received full scholarships to attend Northern Caribbean University. Members in Jamaica have also planned to repair and beautify 172 police stations on the island later this month as a part of the Seventh-day Adventist Church's anniversary celebration.
The Media Center for the Seventh-day Adventist Church in South America, Novo Tempo, recently launched a new children's project to offer Christian and educational digital content to parents and educators. Novo Tempo sent this report.
Agora, os pequenos terão um lugar feito especialmente para eles na internet. Um cantinho de diversão, surpresas e diversas maneiras de aprender.
NT Kids é o nome desse novo projeto. Ele visa ajudar as crianças, na verdade até os pais que têm filhos pequenos, a terem conteúdo de qualidade e de confiança que possa oferecer aos seus filhos.
O objetivo do projeto é unir em um mesmo local ferramentas que auxiliem as crianças e os pais, onde eles possam aprender e se divertir através da mensagem de esperança, aproveitando os benefícios da internet.
Assim, o que a gente percebe é que as crianças hoje elas têm mais facilidade de usar um dispositivo móvel, um celular, do que a gente, na verdade, né? Então já é nativo deles esse mundo digital. Então por isso que a gente está procurando colocar o NT Kids diretamente na internet, que já é um mundo que eles conhecem e às vezes até mais, usam mais até do que a própria televisão.
As redes sociais como Facebook, Instagram e YouTube também são utilizadas para alavancar o projeto. No site você encontra jogos, artesanatos, receitas, desenhos, músicas e lições bíblicas. E a variedade do conteúdo pode alcançar diversos públicos e propostas, como afirma uma das responsáveis pelo conteúdo do site.
A gente coloca conteúdos bíblicos, mas também procura colocar conteúdos educativos para incentivar as pessoas a não só estudar a Bíblia com os filhos, mas também ensinar princípios legais de educação, né, para que as crianças tenham um conteúdo saudável e mesmo a pessoa que não tem princípios cristãos possa se interessar e utilizar esses conteúdos na escola dela, na casa dela, onde ela quiser.
O projeto envolve boa parte dos funcionários da Rede Novo Tempo, que emprestam seus talentos para contribuir, como Felipe, que é o responsável pela animação dos vídeos, e afirma que é trabalhoso, mas também gratificante.
Geralmente um episódio, um vídeo de uma música demora uns 2 semanas para poder fazer, umas 2 semanas e meia. Tem sua parte difícil, mas é mais trabalho do que dificuldade. É bem trabalhoso fazer.
E você, quando vê o resultado final, é gratificante?
É muito gratificante ver todo o resultado, todo o trabalho que você teve pronto ali, e vendo que consegue alcançar bastante. Ele é muito bom.
And finally in the news this week, more than 500 children in St. Martin received medical screenings and health education through an expo organized by the Seventh-day Adventist Church on the island nation. The organizers of the Healthy Me Expo sought to raise awareness of obesity, poor nutrition, and other health problems. A medical team from the American University of the Caribbean provided the health screenings, while the St. Martin Dental Clinic ran dental screenings. School teachers from Adventist schools also provided wellness demonstrations and healthy living presentations by preparing examples of healthy meals. The expo was part of the church's mission to spread the gospel through service to the community.
Coming up, find out how you can share hope through a mobile app.
But up next, learn more about tracking visitors on your website.
I felt so torn inside having to say goodbye to my family and my friends. I had actually started looking for various places to live, but I knew it would be very difficult for me to adjust. And yet I knew I had to trust God. I knew that wherever He sent me, He would be my home. He took my pain and used it for His gain. My name is Carla, and my prayer was answered.
Welcome back. For this week's Tech Corner, Brent Harding, web manager for the Seventh-day Adventist Church, discusses Google Analytics Academy.
In this week's Tech Corner, anyone who runs a website knows that you need to be able to see what your visitors are doing on the site, when they are coming, and to what pages they are going. One of the best free options for tracking website traffic is a product called Google Analytics. And while many use the analytics software, few of us take full advantage of the data it provides. Tracking is just the first step of the process. Actually knowing how to use the data gathered is where the power of Google Analytics starts to help you effectively develop content, refine your website, and add value to your visitors' experience. In looking for training resources, I recently came across a course titled Digital Analytics Fundamentals. It's a free training course from Google's Analytics Academy. As the name suggests, this course doesn't just teach you how to use Google Analytics software, but it also covers how to create a measurement plan and define what metrics you should be following. The course is broken up into 6 units with short videos followed by quizzes to test your knowledge of what was covered. Starting with the steps to create an effective plan for measuring the visitors to your site, the course walks you through understanding the data collected, creating customized reports, and learning how to take action based on the data collected. If you run a website, it might be time to improve your skills in understanding analytics.
It's now easier than ever to share the good news of Christ through Adventist publications. Angela Taipei has more for this week's social media report.
Amidst the frequent reminders during annual council of the need remaining for mission and for each member to reach out to those around them, one announcement gave a tangible way for you to start doing that today. One of the new resources announced at the 2015 annual council, the Sharing Hope app, will revolutionize the way you read and share your favorite Adventist books and materials. This free app, brought to us by the publishing department of the Seventh-day Adventist World Church, features free books to read and makes them easy to share with others, including the books by Ellen White. Books are currently available in English, Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, Russian, and Arabic, but developers set a goal to eventually provide publications in 100 languages. You can now instantly, easily, and intuitively share a full book, a specific chapter, a paragraph, or even just a sentence with just one click of a button. You can choose to share the message that touched your heart with others by message, email, or even Twitter. You'll find this resource online at sharinghope.com, in the Apple Store, and on Google Play. Also, look for them on Twitter at the handle Sharing Hope App. And soon you'll find them on Facebook as well by searching for the Sharing Hope app. Let this useful app help you expand your reading time into a time of sharing with others the messages that God brings into your life.
Now let's turn to David Trim for a look at Adventist history. This week, see which U.S. president hosted a meeting with the Seventh-day Adventist World Church president.
Welcome to This Week in Adventist History. On October 11, 1985, Central Philippine Adventist School became Central Philippines Adventist College, following government accreditation of a 4-year degree course. Today, the college, still operated by the Central Philippines Union Mission, has nearly 1,000 students. On October 12, 1983, Annual Council voted that the Lake Union Soul Winning Institute, which had been very successful in training for evangelism, should become a North American Division institution beginning January 1st, 1984. Mark Finley served as director until July 1985, during which time it was renamed the North American Division Institute of Evangelism. In 1993, it moved to the campus of Andrews University, where today it still educates, equips, and empowers for evangelistic ministry across North America. October 13, 1975, was remarkable for a meeting of many presidents. The President of the United States, Gerald Ford, hosted a meeting at the White House with General Conference President Robert H. Pearson and the presidents of the 12 Adventist colleges then in North America. And on October 14, in 1926, a new educational institution opened in Japan, Nihon Saniku Gakuin, or Japan Threefold Educational School, a title referencing the mental, physical, and spiritual aspects of true education. Later known as Japan Missionary College, today it is once again Saniku Gakuin College. Located on the eastern side of Tokyo Bay in Chiba Prefecture, it has some 250 students. That was This Week in Adventist History.
Thanks for watching ANN. Join us next week for more news from the headquarters of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
In the meantime, join our global conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can connect with Adventists worldwide through more stories, photos, and videos. Visit Facebook/Adventist News, Twitter @Adventist Church, and Instagram @Adventist Church.
Our good news for this week comes from the book of 1 John, chapter 4, verse 15. The passage says, "All who declare that Jesus is the Son of God have God living in them, and they live in God."
That's our program for this week. And remember, you can always visit news.adventist.org for daily news and videos. Until next time, God bless.
Take care.